What's up, guys? It's CM Boom. Welcome back to the channel. So, it's been just over a week since MW3's Rank Play has launched, and there were some pretty big adjustments made to some of the weapons and maps for Rank Play. So, I wanted to take the time and go over exactly what has changed and the impact that some of those changes have made in competitive play. You can find myself playing Rank Play on Mondays and Fridays over on Twitch at CM Boom Gaming at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I will have that linked in the description below, and with that, let's get into it. Starting off with the weapons, the two main weapons in the competitive meta, the assault rifle, the MCW, and the submachine gun, the Rival 9, both saw changes. The MCW saw the most changes, receiving a slight nerf. First off, it had its sprint to fire time increased from 220 milliseconds to 241 milliseconds, which is a 10% increase. The 16.5-inch Cyclone long barrel attachment was adjusted as well. The damage range benefit was decreased by 6%. The bullet velocity benefit was decreased by 7%. The sprint to fire time penalty was increased by 1%. The hip fire spread penalty was decreased by 5%. And the tactical stance spread penalty was also decreased by 5%. The RB Regal Heavy Stock attachment also saw some changes. The gun kick control benefit was decreased by 11%. The horizontal recoil control benefit was decreased by 5%. The vertical recoil control benefit was decreased by 5%. The sprint speed penalty was increased by 3%. The tactical sprint speed penalty was increased by 3%. And finally, the sprint to fire speed penalty was increased by 1%. The Rival 9 only saw a slight change in that its horizontal recoil was decreased slightly. No numbers on that one. Melee weapons were adjusted at ranked to now require 2 hits to kill instead of 1, so you're no longer going to see any crazy lunges. So, with the MCW receiving a slight nerf and the Rival 9 getting buffed, how did that affect rank play? Well, it really didn't do much. Myself, I am still running an AR, and most teams are still running 3 to 4 ARs in a match. I think personally, what would need to change would be the map pool. A majority of these maps that we have right now have an abundance of open areas and long sight lines that really just give the assault rifles way more of an advantage. Maps like Terminal, Invasion, High Rise, and Sub Base, they're all very wide open maps with very long sight lanes, and the ARs just have a clear advantage over the SMGs. Moving on, we had some major adjustments to almost all of the hardpoint maps. 4 out of the 5 hardpoint maps got adjusted. Invasion, Karachi, Sub Base, and Terminal all saw changes to hill locations and spawn points. We are going to start off with Invasion. P1 was moved from Cafe to the area in between Cafe and DVD store. P2 is still in construction. P3 is also still the same in bathrooms. P4 was moved out of the palace and into the front courtyard. And P5 is now in the street just outside of Top Broken. Karachi only saw its P4 and P5 adjusted. P4, instead of being in apartments, is now outside in the main street right below Top Church. And P5 was moved to the shacks right behind the bus station. Subbase also had its P3 and P4 changed. P3 is now at the loading docks behind Tunnel, which was the old P4. And P4 is now right in front of the sub, the old P3, but it's off to the side a little bit, underneath Top Cat and right by Outskirts. Terminal saw the most changes when it came to its hardpoint locations. Bookstore is now P1 instead of P5. P2 was moved out of Perfume into the bottom of the escalators. P3 was taken out of the plane and moved to the security desk right outside of Perfume where the old P2 was. P4 is still at Burger, but the point itself was extended beyond the counter to the front pillars. And finally, P5 is the boxes in the center of the map outside of the plane below Top AC. If you ask me, some of these changes were definitely needed. Subbase plays a lot better. It is a lot easier to contest and break hills. I know with the old way, The hills where you could chain P2 to P3 very easily. It was very easy to get map control and stop teams in the center. They couldn't even get across the map to contest, and it could easily get 120 points off those two hills back to back. Karachi still plays similar to how it did, but now with P4 and P5 being moved out of those tight buildings, it's a lot easier for attackers to contest and break hills. Invasion is still not great. Honestly, it's still my least favorite map. I really honestly would rather play Skid Row Hardpoint over Invasion Hardpoint. I think Invasion's main problem is the particle effects from the sand. It's a little too dusty. The coloration of the map, it all leads to poor visibility problems. As well as I was having some spawn issues. I had multiple occasions where enemies would just spawn behind me, mainly in the palace area. I had spawned palace, run out to contest P4 in the courtyard, and I had an enemy spawn right behind me. I also had instances where I would spawn behind an enemy and get a free kill. So here's hoping that Invasion can either be adjusted again, or we can get a new map to entirely replace it. I know we saw the new 6v6 map, Rio, introduced into multiplayer. I haven't done any testing on that. I don't know if that could possibly be a hardpoint map, but if it can, here's to hoping that we could get Invasion removed. As for Terminal, I think removing P3 from the plane was a really good change. Again, like on sub base, teams could easily chain P2 and P3. They were very hard hills to break, and if you had good setups, they were unbreakable, and you could easily chain two back-to-back 60s and get 120 points and run up the score. I'm not sure how I feel about some of the other changes. P1 now being in bookstore practically guarantees that the team that spawns in security will get the capture off rip. So maybe some initial spawns could be adjusted, and we would have to really look at that. But overall, rank play has been a fun time. I'm enjoying it. I know I've been waiting for months since the game released. I know a lot of us have been waiting for rank play to come out since the game is released, and I'm glad it's here, and I can't wait to keep playing. Few final things. The rank system for rank play is the exact same as last year's. Everyone starts in bronze, and you work your way up through winning matches. There's 3 tiers. You have bronze 1, 2, and 3, silver 1, 2, and 3, and so on. Once you hit the next skill division, you will get your 3 demotion protected matches. You also start with 3 demotion protected matches, meaning if you lose, you will not lose SR for your first 3 matches. You also will not lose SR if a teammate disconnects or leaves mid-match and you lose. That teammate has to be on your team. Can't be on the other team. If a teammate leaves on the other team and you guys still lose, you will lose SR. If you leave a match and whether it was a disconnection or you left it yourself, you will get a matchmaking ban, no matter what. I had an instance where I crashed out in the first day of ranked and I got a 5-minute matchmaking ban. Unfortunately, there's still not a rejoin feature for when this type of stuff happens. Hopefully in the future it could be added. I know that's something that a lot of people have been asking for. I would like to see that added, but right now there is not a rejoin feature. Finally, for smoke grenades, this was going to be a big issue that a lot of people were worried about, was smoke grenades being in respawn modes, because they are allowed in search and destroy, but they are not allowed in hardpoint and control. They are restricted items in respawn modes. If someone tries to pick a class that has a smoke grenade in respawn modes, they will be automatically put into default classes. They are allowed in search and destroy, but you just need to be aware that there's a good chance that the whole team is running smokes instead of just one like in Pro Play. And that's it. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the changes that were added, as well as if you are enjoying ranked, and leave it below. What rank are you guys right now? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and again, check me out on Twitch at CMBoob Gaming, Mondays and Fridays, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Let's go! You had all the time in the world. Let's go!